#1 FTMO ranked trader, being on the FTMO leaderboard over 100 times.
When I joined social media and people were like, do you know this and do you know that and do you know that strategy and do you know this person? I was like, no, I don't know anything. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. Like, for instance, smart money concepts, ICT. These terms, they only exist in the YouTube bubble. Outside that YouTube bubble, I've never heard about these terms at all, right? I didn't even know this existed.
What happens when you put a proven 1-minute time frame trader in the same room as a proven higher time frame fundamentals trader? And that fundamentals trader does not believe M1 trading works. Let's see how this goes.
With supply and demand just by itself, you can be consistent. But the results are still somehow random in terms of you can be consistent, yes, but you can still have losing streaks. And for a beginner or someone who is like not that experienced, it can be really demotivating. And that's why people start strategy hopping. They have like 5 losers. They're like, it doesn't work for me. They move on.
And it's important for everyone to realize there are certain things in our control and out of our control. And if you try to control the uncontrollable, that's where you're going to lose your psychology and lose your mind and jump from strategy to strategy.
My goal as a trader is to find the best opportunity in this particular week for a particular market. In one week, it might be gold. Another week, it might be euro dollar. And another week might be the equity indices. Like now, I'm looking to buy soybeans.
Because you mentioned the Muay Thai and you are, a man in shape, you can fight it. Let's say one day there's a trading influencer, boxing. Would you participate? And if you did, who would you challenge?
If I had to challenge somebody, I would challenge.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for a special episode. And just to give you a bit of context, there's very few traders that I truly respect and look up to, and they have my admiration. I'm joined by a gentleman called Bernd from Germany, also now living in Dubai, who is one of the few people that does have my respect. And when we went for lunch not too long ago, we discussed everything trading related, our careers, how we grew in the trading industry, life of a guru, and that side of the industry which Bernd wasn't so familiar with because he was away from social media. But just going through his trading style, almost grilling you, assessing you, let's say, and also him showing me his track record, my FX book, and just the level of expertise you have. Yeah, man, I'm excited to join you on this episode, and thank you for coming on, and I think we'll have a great chat.
No, Waka, thank you for having me. I mean, I really want to stress that, you're such a big trader, you're such a big influencer, your channels are much, much bigger than mine, and you basically having me, you don't have any benefit from having me, just having a good conversation. So this speaks volume, I think, and tells me a lot about your character.
No, but the purpose of the podcast is not big names, it's cool people that inspire me. That was the mission statement.
Thank you so much.
So it's definitely cool to have you on. So before we get into the nitty gritty, I just wonder if you can give me a brief introduction for the audience on your trading journey, what kind of trade you are, being the #1 ranked on FTMO. So that's a huge milestone, but you were not from the prop firm background. So just a quick outline of your story until now, 2024.
Yeah, I try to keep it short and quick. So my name is Bernd. I'm originally from Germany, but I live in Dubai since 13 years. I trade since 12 years, and since 10 years I'm trading. So since a decade I'm trading full-time. I have family, I have a wife, I have a daughter, she's 9. So I'm providing for my family since almost 10 years now. And I don't consider myself an FX trader. I would consider myself a multi-asset trader. So I started trading stocks, then I moved into futures, and then only a couple of years back I started trading FX as well. So I trade multi-assets, so basically everything. And just recently, I ventured into prop trading. Actually, it was in August or June, July 2022, so 1.5 years back, just by coincidence, basically. And yeah, ever since, the rest is history. I became the #1 all-time record holder for FTMO in terms of leaderboard appearances, 120 times. I think at least I'm the only one in the FX prop space who is managing a $2 million A-book account. We can go into that later as well. What is the difference between A-book and B-book, going into the nitty-gritty. But that's me in a nutshell. And since actually 2019, I'm also the owner of a licensed investment consultancy in Dubai that is regulated by the UAE authority. So yes, so that's me in a nutshell, my trading experience.
Oh, incredible, man. And I was actually going through your YouTube channel, and I know you're not an influencer and you just started your social media journey, but I think you're going to blow up, man, because you have good content, you have credibility behind you, and I think your daughter as well, she's going to be a star one day. She's in the Day in the Life vlog, she's a funny little girl.
So yes, about my YouTube experience or my YouTube journey, I started YouTube basically now in February, end of February last year, so now 11 months. And yeah, this changed a lot for me, like going more mainstream and more on social media. I was never a social media person. But now, since we are going more mainstream, me and my team and myself, so with a licensed investment consultancy where we provide education, it's like the social media game is a totally different ball game. And yes, my goal is to reach 100K subscribers because my daughter, she desperately wants a play button. She's 9. She can only talk about play buttons, that when she gets one, she wants to have it in her room. So that's my goal for her.
Brilliant. Now, I was going to actually ask, because you've kind of done the trader's journey in an ideal way. You were a hidden man behind the scenes. You didn't rely on prop firms, and you've been doing it for over a decade now. Why have you decided now to come out of the shadows, let's say, and put yourself online? And what is your mission statement with even doing YouTube videos and so forth beyond play button for your daughter?
Yes, basically, almost like everyone who goes on YouTube, well, let's be honest, we want to promote ourselves, right? And that's why I went into prop trading in the first place, because for me this was, when it comes to trading, everybody can talk about trading, everybody can offer something offer trading education, and the problem is that there's no real credibility and transparency in the trading industry, and there's so many, like you said in the beginning, there's so many trading gurus, and it's so hard to find the needle in the haystack, especially for people who are like beginners, who to trust and who not to trust. And the reason why I went into prop trading in the first place and then on social media was basically, for me, prop trading was like passing a driving license, so to speak, because you get all these certificates. So for me, that certificate was like passing my first FTMO challenge and then passing my first FTMO evaluation and getting the first payout. These were like basically a driving license for me to offer trading education and to showcase that I'm credible, and then that I can be the needle in the haystack for beginners, right? To know who to trust, if this makes sense. Yeah,
completely. And I want to get your summary or debrief on the industry, because you've grown as a real trader outside the bubble of social media, which is the Wild West. Now you've seen the chaos on Twitter, you've seen the Lambo flexing on Instagram, all of that. So now coming from a professional corporate background before you started trading, and then doing trading correctly, to now peeking into the Wild West of social media, what has been your assessment, and why do you think it is the way that it is?
Well, I think we could fill an entire podcast just talking about that philosophical topic. But yes, most people are there, right? At the end of the day, let's be real. They're on social media because when it comes to trading, the easiest way to make money is selling stuff.
Selling a dream.
Yeah. Selling the dream, right? How do you sell the dream? If you show off all these materialistic things like Lambo, expensive watches, traveling, the lifestyle, basically the trader lifestyle, right? How it's promoted on social media. And it's very attractive for people, especially for the younger generation. And this is what I see constantly now on social media. It's insane. It's still, like, for me, it's like mind-blowing how some people, well, can blow up so big on social media by promoting this kind of lifestyle, but don't really have proof that they are legit traders. Entertainment aside, yes, but literally like promoting that they are good in trading and they're consistent in trading. That's, to me, literally horrible to see that. And there were so many, when I joined social media and people were like, do you know this, and do you know that, and do you know that strategy, and do you know this person, and what about this? I was like, no, I don't know anything. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. These terms, like, for instance, right, we don't need to get into that discussion, but for instance, the term smart money concepts, ICT, these terms, they only exist in the YouTube bubble. Outside that YouTube bubble, I've never heard about these terms at all, right? I didn't even know this existed outside the YouTube bubble. And I had mentors before, and my mentors were from Chicago Mercantile Exchange, one from New York Stock Exchange. So I had like really old school traders who were former floor traders as mentors. This is a completely different world, right? And then you join that YouTube bubble and you're getting bombarded with all these fancy
lifestyle
and these terms that you're like, what does this even mean, right? So, yeah, so it's for me now a completely different world, and it's very interesting to explore. And actually, to be honest, now I really enjoy YouTube as well.
You got addicted to the numbers and the growth, and
yes,
I completely get it, bro.
Yeah. It's YouTube Studio app checking, on the video.
Refresh.
I
refresh my MT4. I refresh my YouTube Studio actually.
That's so funny that you say that, because I told my editor the other day, I feel more anxious releasing a new YouTube video than getting into a new trade,
Yeah. So I wanted to kind of reflect on what you've just said, and my assessment on that same thing is, why is the industry so chaotic? And I do think about it a lot, because it's usually young men that are getting roped into it and misguided. But there are a few people around, like yourself, that are somebody worth listening to, learning from, but they get lost in the lifestyle. They get lost in who to learn from, and usually who they want to learn from is the one with more followers, the one with the nicer car, as opposed to the one who's shown credibility and validated themselves. My assessment has kind of been the biggest scams come when you have the lowest barrier to entry. So trading, you can start for free. You can get a broker and sign up with $100, MT4 download free, and you don't even need qualifications or anything. Barrier to entry is super low, but upside profitability can be a multi-millionaire, whatever. So when you have infinitely low barrier to entry and infinitely high upside, that's the space where people try and sell a dream, and that's the issue. So you've mentioned you had not the mentors in the space, not social media mentors. You had true mentors that were working in funds, I guess, or in the professional environment.
On the floor, actually. On the floor.
Actually,
they were
floors, okay.
One of them is actually, frankly speaking, one of them unfortunately died last year. He was a former floor trader, right? So he came from the floor, and since floor trading is a dying species, or is basically died out, right? Everything is electronic nowadays, the systems. These people, because trading at the end of the day is a lonely business, so they were looking to basically continue to speak about trading, talk about trading, get exposed with other like-minded people. How do you do that? When you start teaching, right? And this is how I...
Yeah, I wanted to ask, because I think it's one of the most valuable lessons for the viewers that are watching, because they're usually going to be young newcomers into the industry, and they want to do well. They have good intentions, but they get misguided by the industry, the people in the industry, the tricks of the prop firms, and there's so many pitfalls.
It's crazy.
Whereas you took a route to profitability with a correct way, let's say. But not everyone can have access to a floor trader or these kind of mentors. So, well, first of all, how did you access these kind of individuals that mentored you, and those mentors that are in the floor environment, in a fund setup, as opposed to you as an individual trader trading personal plus prop capital? Does that information translate across? And were those mentors directly correlated to your success, or was it kind of an individual journey you had to go on over the last decade?
Yeah, it's a long story, but I just wanted to add something that you mentioned previously that is basically super interesting to me as well, that when it comes to the social media space, is that what I realized is that the amount of followers equals credibility, or for the newcomers, right? Or the amount of money that you have apparently is equals credibility in trading, which is absolutely not true, right? I just wanted to add that because I realized it as well on social media. But yeah, that's a difficult topic, what you just mentioned. And for me, I can say back in the days, more than 10 years ago, the trading environment or the trading education space was different. It was more like there was no YouTube. I mean, there was YouTube, but it was like minimal, right? I didn't even think about going out and look for educational content on YouTube. I come also from a university. I have a university background, a business background. So for me, it made a lot of sense that that trading is another business, is another skill, basically. So if I go out there and just try to figure it out myself, watching content myself and just being by myself, I can never master that skill. I can never master that business. That I need to find someone somehow to teach me that skill. Ideally physical, because I had to go to university. I was taught physically in a classroom environment. So I come from a background that I always had classroom environment, right? So I just had the same, I basically applied the same approach, my background approach to, okay, I want to learn trading, so how do I approach this? The same that how I studied business, basically. I need to find someone who I can like physically learn from, and this is basically how I was doing back then, was doing my research, right? And then found somebody, and this is basically, I kept the ball rolling. But today, since everything, today you can learn online. So today you can learn online, but still you have to do your due diligence and you have to do a lot of research to find somebody that is trustworthy. And I think that's why we're coming back to the prop space. That gives you that prop trading potentially gives you the credibility because you can collect all these certificates, you can get all these payouts, you get that's why I say potentially. There's
it's kind of like a step in the right direction.
A step in the right direction. If somebody can showcase consistency, certificates month over month, different more funding in general. So this is a way how people can go by, okay, this person apparently knows what he is talking about or teaching about and trading. So this is a way how you can start at least, right? Start at least, differentiate and find the needle in the haystack, from my point of view. But yes, as you said, as you indicated somehow, there are also there's some tricks and downside tricks that people nowadays do with the keyword here is obviously like I lost it. It's
what is the perception?
The reset button that you have with prop firms, right? The account flipping. That was the word that I was meaning. The term, the account flipping that you nowadays can do. You can buy 10 challenges and get 2 payouts, and then you can invest the money that you get with the payouts and new challenges and so on. So it's difficult, yes, still.
So in the beginning or in the vlog section, we kind of said that our goal in the market is to make money.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter what strategy, it doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong. Our goal is to make money. And as long as you are profiting from the market, it's kind of like you are right. Who cares? So
exactly.
When it comes to the prop firms, and I know from a professional environment, it is kind of like, well, you have a reset button, so that's not real. And you can also do the risk to reward of the prop firms, meaning you spend 10,000 in challenges, but you get 20,000 in payouts. Well, you made money, but you didn't need to be a consistently profitable trader because your equity curve can look like this. The down periods, you blow the accounts. The up periods, you take a payout, and you just gamify the situation. Which in some elements is like, well, you're not a real trader, you're not professional, you're just gambling with an edge. And the other side is, well, my goal was to make money. I used the opportunity in front of me and I made money through the markets. That's my goal. So what does it matter? So where do you lie in that?
Yes, I say it matters because now I tell you also why it matters, that I'm more like, I don't like that slot machine approach, that account flipping approach, that where you use the reset button, because I offer education, right? And so I offer education, so I want my students to learn how to trade consistently, right? To be consistent for the rest of their life. I don't want them to learn how to flip an account, right? Because this only requires a certain level of skill and only a small amount of edge. Whereas if you can prove consistency month over month over month, this needs you need to have an edge in the market, whereas this account flipping style, the slot machine style, doesn't require a lot of edge in the market. So I'm offering education. So I want to showcase. I want to be a role model in the market. I want to be a role model in the market. And I think if you offer education and if you do this account flipping kind of trading style, and if you I've seen a lot of people glorifying this on social media, which is absolutely wrong. They offer education and they're glorifying this gambling slot machine kind of style, glorifying account flipping, buying 10 challenges, they're lucky getting two payouts. That's not the way to go if you offer education. If you trade for yourself and only for yourself, and you don't offer anything, right? If this is your approach to make money, and if you can pull it off, okay, making money is making money, right? But if you are on the education side,
you have like a responsibility.
You have a responsibility. You have to be a role model.
I like that answer. So now I wanted to get into the FTMO side of your journey. I know that wasn't the main and probably not the area where you've made the most money, but it's still like a very huge achievement. And that's kind of what's brought the industry's attention to yourself, not your A-book stuff, not your individual journey. It's the prop firm certificate.
Because it's the biggest prop firm in the world, right?
It's the biggest prop firm in the world. You got a huge lifetime payout. And also the idea that you can't fake that.
You can't fake
Even
that.
if you show like a MyFX book, someone's going to say, oh, but you did this and this. You tricked it like this and this. But when it's an FTMO and you got the QR code, which let's not get into that drama. I don't know if you want to.
I
But
know, or we could. Yeah, we don't get into that.
yeah, but the point being, like,
yeah.
it's third party verified, let's say, and they know you can't have a hand in manipulating it. So when you were trading the FTMO, and it's been like a year and a half, if I'm correct in saying,
August
that year
2022.
that year and a half, you were able to rank on the leaderboard 120
20 times.
Huge amounts. So when you were trading that account, were you trading it as you trade your normal, or were you trading it in line with, this is a prop firm and I can be a bit more carefree or a bit more risky, or I want to be on the leaderboard, so I trained a bit more aggressively? Or was that just your normal performance?
It was my normal performance.
Oh, wow.
It was like my normal risk profile, taking 1% per trade, or 1.5% max per trade. That my normal risk profile. But back to the MyFX book, I'm not sure if this is correct. So